about to begin. We want to welcome you to the Vampire&Devil show. We want to welcome you to the Vampire&Devil show. It's gonna be bloody fun. We're gonna kill everyone. Welcome to the Vampire&Devil show. With lots of blood and lots of guts. Two horror fanatics and rock and roll nuts. Welcome to the Vampire&Devil show.
Devil, my friend. Fashion. Things to wear. Possibly faces covered, but more importantly, covering up the bodies. Merch. We have that now. We are very, very excited to announce that Vampire&Devil have partnered with our friends at Rock and Horror Apparel. They are now taking care of the actual merch, the exclusive merch for the Vampire&Devil podcast, modeled by our very sexy devil right here.
Oh yeah.
But we have all kinds of goodies to share with you.
Got the hoodies, we got some shirts, we got some tanks coming up, we got some booty shorts, we got all the stuff you want to wear from the Vampire&Devil podcast, thanks to Rock and Horror.
Horns up, fangs out. What's up there, Fangs? It's the Vampire&Devil podcast coming at you. We're at FrightReads Festival here in Maryland, and we're sitting with a friend, Chris. Great to see you again, brother.
Good to see you as well, my
Absolutely,
friend.
man, for sure. But we're gonna hang out for a little bit. We've got Shriek Show to talk about, but first and foremost, we're a few hours into the event. How's it been so far?
It's been really great. It's just been fun just seeing so many costumes go by, and I've definitely been busy here at the table just promoting Shriek Show and obviously our forthcoming big release of Crackoon, which is going to debut on Screambox on Tuesday.
Oh,
Nice. That's awesome, man. And talk a little bit about like the coming together of Shriek Show and stuff. I mean, it's got a great cast. You know, you work with some great names in the genre as well. But just talk a little bit about the movie and a little bit about this top hat over here that the Fangs can't quite see.
No, you guys can't see it, but I did bring the actual Ringmaster top hat, as we see here. Well, you guys can't see it.
They can now.
You can now. So Shriek Show really, the concept of Shriek Show really came together is it started off as a Halloween costume that I wore to my company's Halloween party back in 2016. This is how long the Ringmaster has kind of been gestating. And then director Brad Twigg kind of messaged me and he said, you know what? I would love to make a movie around this character. Tell me about him. What is his story? What is his origins? You know, what do you want to see brought with him? So, and then from then on, it was just kind of like a smooth sailing for a bit there. We did an Indiegogo fund and everything, and then we started rolling on the production in 2019, and then we got a nice little visit from our friend COVID-19.
Yeah.
So that completely threw us into this whole like limbo phase for a while, but we managed to shoot through the height of the pandemic. I mean, trust me, there was a lot of safety concerns, a lot of masks, a lot of sanitation, a lot of temperature checks every day. And, I'm in the makeup, so I couldn't wear a mask. So I kept telling everybody, like, to stay away from me. Not that I didn't trust them. I was concerned for their safety. Like, yeah. I'm unmasked, so I don't want you guys to get too close to me. So, but we got through it. And despite everything, all that happening, we were able to film probably about 80% of everything we had set out to film. And it turned out to be just really great. I mean, I'm not being biased because it's my movie, but it's just... we're all really, really happy with it. And yeah, we have some really great leading ladies in here from the horror genre. Mm-hmm. We have the amazing Felissa Rose. We have Tuesday Night, which, is Kristen Parker from Nightmare 4. Yeah. And we have Beverly Randolph from Return to the Living Dead. So, and I have it's very surreal getting to work with these three incredible women that we all as horror fans have grown up watching. And idolizing and everything. And it was great. I'm just so happy that we were able to have him.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
for sure. Devil, my friend, why don't you take it away?
I was going to ask about that with the good ladies you had, with Felissa and stuff like that. Was it that beginning where you were a little bit like kind of nervous, kind of like shell shocked? Oh my God, this is Felissa Rose. I mean, she's the queen of like those '80s great movies.
I'm not gonna lie. Like I admit I had a bit of a fanboy moment when we were because we shot with Felissa and Beverly on the same day, so we're all in the room, and I'm just sitting there, kind of behind the camera, like being script supervisor and everything, and just thinking like, oh my God, that's Felissa Rose and Beverly Randolph. And then on Tuesday, I got definitely be a fanboy here. So Nightmare 4 is my favorite Nightmare on Elm Street. So, and it was very surreal just to get her in this production, and I ended up writing all of her scenes. So when we got her and everything, and we got to set and everything, and she rode in my car, so she actually went back to LA and got the same car as me. So like she sent me a selfie with her car, and she was like, "Kia buddies," and but just to hear her like ask me, "Chris, am I doing okay? Like, do you need a little bit more of this? Do you want me to pull back on this?" Just hearing this woman that I've been such a fan of like my whole life, just asking you these things, it was just such a great moment for me. And that's when it kind of really hit me. I'm like, you know what, anything's possible. You just never know.
Yeah. And then also, everybody knows, anybody who's ever met Felissa, she's basically like the life of the party.
Yes.
Did you get to, obviously, how long you worked with her, experience that off-camera crazy antics of Felissa Rose?
Absolutely. She was all too friendly with her glass of apple pie moonshine at a New Year's Eve event that we went to. So, yeah, good times. But I'm very proud of this movie. I mean, Brad Twigg and Daniel Brooks, like they really were the real glue that really stuck this all together. And we have a great cast. We had a lot of new faces in this production on this particular movie. So it's starting to gain a little bit of a following now, which is anybody that what you can ask for as being an indie film. And I will say that we are in the early stages of bringing the Ringmaster back.
Oh,
so that's all I can say.
Possible sequel, maybe.
Yes.
Right on,
And
absolutely.
it's starting to be on paper now, so that's all I can give away.
No, totally understandable there. And Chris, kind of a follow-up on what Devil was saying with that, that I found also really interesting. Like, when it comes to a movie like Shriek Show, where your hands are very much in the cookie jar for something like that, as opposed to another movie where you're a hired talent, and you have to concentrate on your scenes, your lines, and the other actors and actresses you're working with. How does your head work on something like that, where you have to be so much more aware of everything, even scenes you're not involved with?
I mean, I rip it off and set it on the table next to me, but this movie was definitely one where I really dabbled in that cookie jar, and I was a producer on it. I was one of the set designers. I was a co-script writer on it, and but I mean, it was a little challenging, but I knew one thing. I knew, like, as far as like set design and everything, I knew where I wanted to go with certain things. Like, we pay, for those who haven't seen it yet, I don't want to spoil anything, but there's a big homage to the opening of Halloween 4 in this movie, and a lot of that came from me, and it was me and Brad getting out there one day with a camera and just going hog wild out in the countryside. So kind of basically what Dwight H. Little did when he shot Halloween 4. So but I mean, it was a great experience. I don't regret anything. It definitely helped me learn and grow in these other departments. It's not just as an actor, because this is definitely one of the most challenging roles I've ever done, but it's also ended up being my favorite.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to get back in there again and show the world what else he's capable of, because we only got a little tip of that iceberg in the first movie.
Okay, right on. Just the tip, Fangs.
Yeah,
just the tip.
Just the tip.
Right on, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, obviously, you talked about your love of Nightmare Part 4.
Yeah.
But like, what else were some other horror movies that were your favorite horror movies growing up in the genre, and/or your favorite kind of being the fact that it's a clown kind of character, your favorite clown horror movies too?
Well, I mean, my favorite movie of all time is John Carpenter's Halloween.
Oh, yeah.
I saw it. I mean, it's it's iconic. It needs no introduction.
Mrs. Vamp will love hearing
Yeah,
that.
that's me. I'm a Halloween
And there
guy.
would be no Freddy or Jason or anybody else if it was not for Michael Myers. Let's face facts
Yep.
here. But I love the original Evil Dead just because of how independent it is.
Yeah,
and how
yeah.
gritty and raw it is. And I'm a big fan of Scream. I know it's sci-fi horror, but I'm a huge fan of Ridley Scott's Alien.
Oh, yeah.
I love the whole haunted house aspect of it,
Yep.
and I love a good slow burn. Like, I mean, that's probably why I connect so much with Halloween and Alien and everything. It's a nice slow burn, and then by the time you get to that inferno, like, it's an inferno, like, it's there, and it doesn't let up at all.
We use that phrase on our show so many
Yeah,
times,
yes.
so
Yeah.
it's awesome to
Yes.
hear
Yeah.
you use those choice words.
Yeah. But those are some of my favorite films growing up that have influenced me, not only as an actor and a screenwriter and hopefully a director one day. And then, those are just some of my favorites. I mean, we try to incorporate a lot of some of those elements into Shriek Show as well. So
Yeah. And then, obviously, like people, like you said, with the look of the thing,
Yes.
very like that, brought back that kind of 80s killer clown from outer space.
yeah, that's
Kind
one
of
of the
look
best.
to it. Yeah.
Well,
So.
one thing, like circling back around the rest of the question was, there really hasn't been any sort of like ringmaster like killer clown movie.
Yeah.
And like we did our research and everything. I mean, there's really nothing.
Yeah.
Like nothing really focusly as him as a focal point.
Yeah.
So, and that's something that Brad and I were really intrigued about. It's like this is different. Let's do something different with him. And like I said, tip of the iceberg. Like we're definitely want to bring him back for at least one or two more movies, and like we're gonna really see his true colors
Oh, nice.
come out in the future. So you guys, all I can tell you, you guys that are watching this, listening to this, keep watching Shriek Show, keep giving it great reviews, guys, because we're not done with this character yet. And probably my favorite killer clown-ish movie or kind of movies. Oh gosh, I mean, I'm a big fan of it.
Yeah.
I mean, I respect both versions for what they brought to the
Yeah,
table.
yeah.
I mean, I prefer the 2017 It more because that's stuck more closer to
To the
Pennywise
book. Yeah,
in the book.
yeah, yeah.
So, but I mean, nothing. I mean, I respect the hell out of Tim Curry. Like he did. I mean, I get
Yeah.
compared to him a lot, which is a high honor for me.
Yeah.
So, but he brought his A game to a made-for-TV movie, and holy shit, did he sell it!
Yeah, yeah. I mean, even too, like another thing that we're talking about with Carnival and the kind of like the look of this movie,
Yeah.
very Tobe Hooper Funhouse.
Yes,
I'm a huge fan of that. I love Funhouse.
That was one of the many influences that kind of went into this a little bit too.
Yeah.
So.
We also have a mutual friend who's been doing a series of movies called Clown Motel.
Yep.
Yes, I'm well aware of Clown Motel. Actually, one of our actresses from Killer Camp Out 2 just did the newer one that they just did. Yeah,
Okay.
Angel Bradford
Oh, nice.
Okay, yeah.
named her out.
Absolutely, for sure. Well, Devil, I think we should let Chris get back to his fans and all that stuff. So, Fangs, Shriekers, everybody watching, we appreciate you guys checking it out, and make sure that you're following Chris O'Brocki and everything that he does, and checking out Shriek Show. And if you're in the Maryland area, come on out to FrightReads Fest and see him in person and hang out and get the movie.
Yeah. Awesome.
Thank you so much, Fangs. We'll see you soon. Horns up.
What's up?
Fangs out. Devil, my friend. Oh, yeah. I think if there's anybody who would know hot things, it's you.
Oh, yeah.
So I think it's only right that you let our beloved Fangs know what they can order now, courtesy of Coney Island.
Oh, yeah, man. We're in the kitchen. You know it gets hot in the kitchen. And what else better for your finger foods, for your tacos, for your victims that you may be eating? Maybe some sauce. And you should get it from the sauce boss, Coney Island sauce. Oh yeah, get some of that good stuff. Oh yeah, you like to sprinkle it on anything. You can sprinkle it on your fingers, sprinkle it on your toes, sprinkle it on your hose. Anything you want to sprinkle goes.
Absolutely. We have partnered with Coney Island Saucery. Aaron is fantastic. We really appreciate all the love he's given to the show, and we're very, very pleased and honored to be a part of him. So he's got 4 sauces out of various heat levels to enjoy on all your various foods, but also for anybody who is already following his socials, our socials, or is about to be, newly announced partnership with Slayer.
Oh yeah,
Coney
it's
Island
gonna be burning
sauce.
to fire.
Oh yeah, Coney Island Saucery does have a Slayer brand hot sauce coming out very, very soon. And so make sure that you check that out for all your various levels of spice. This is Vampire and the Devil, Coney Island Saucery. Horns up, fangs out.
What's up there, Fangs? We're coming right back at you again here at FrightReads in Maryland. We're creeping around, making some friends, having some great conversations, and we're going to continue those conversations. We got Vampire, we've got Devil, but more important, we've got Sean Whalen.
How are you guys? Vampire Devil, what's up?
Absolute pleasure, Sean. Thank you for a little bit of your time.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And first and foremost, how's the con treating you so far?
Very fun. I've had a really good time. I got a little gift bag with some Old Bay and some Utz potato chips. Got a world famous Maryland hot dog. Like, it's all good.
But you also have some Maryland in you, though.
I have
So
some
you're
Maryland
familiar
in
with
me,
some of
yes.
those.
Born and raised in Annapolis, Bowie, and Montgomery County, Maryland. I lived in 2 places my life, Los Angeles, California, and Maryland.
Yeah,
That's it.
that's how you can tell you're a real Maryland person, because people like me, I'm not from Maryland to begin with.
Yeah.
When I first see Bowie, I call it Bowie, and everybody yells at you.
Oh,
He
yes.
says Bowie, so
Oh, yes.
that's how you can tell he's a real Maryland person when he
Yes.
says the name right.
Right,
So they bring
100%.
you burger cookies?
I have burger cookies in the gift bag.
Nice, nice, awesome. But you're also here with a bunch of your colleagues from People
Yes,
Under the Stairs.
this convention is very old and new. I have my first movie I ever did with Brandon Adams and Jan Birch from People Under the Stairs, and I'm also my new movie Crust that I wrote, produced, directed, and starred in has my female co-star Rebecca Kennedy here. So it's like my first movie and my latest movie together in one convention. So that's very cool.
And I mean, first and foremost, how do you look back at People Under the Stairs? A fun little tidbit for you is that we do a series of showdowns on our show where we take a topic and we each pick a movie to compete against each other.
Nice.
And for Father's Day, we pitted Frailty against People Under the Stairs.
Nice.
With People Under the Stairs coming out as the victor.
Nice. And Father's Day. That's amazing.
I mean,
That's
he doesn't
hilarious.
love like bad
Of course,
father, like
right?
People Under the
Yeah,
Stairs.
couldn't be worse. Couldn't be worse.
Not at all.
Literally. Yeah. That's
you look
really
like the
funny.
movie.
I mean, it was such a great experience because Wes was so calming. He wanted good acting. I was in a really good acting class at the time, so it was really everything I was doing he was amenable to. I had no lines. I didn't have to worry about big monologues for the first time in my first movie. I got to express myself. I put the prosthetic tongue in my mouth the whole time so I could just be free and no one would understand me. It was just fantastic. And it was my first time on a set, and it was the movie that's got me to quit my waiter job. I had one shift that I was hanging on to. I don't know if you guys have done this, the bars or
That's my day job.
Yeah, right, but that one shift, you're like, okay, I could give up everyone, but not that shift. Like it's the great shift,
that's
right?
the
The
one.
big money one, and I didn't want to give it up, but it was the one that like made me go, oh, now I have to live like an actor, and the goal is not to be waiting tables in a couple months again.
Yeah.
So yeah, it changed my life, and then got me into the horror community. When Facebook blew up and people reached out to me, then I got into the horror community, and horror is now taking off. The community's great, and I love comedy, and comedies aren't selling right now, but I love horror enough to make horror comedies right now. So it's great. So it's like the best of both worlds for me, and the horror community couldn't be more supportive of people.
How did the script find you?
I wrote it. I wrote Crust.
No, sorry.
People Under the Stairs. Oh, People Under the Stairs. It was just an audition. Just an audition of, I went to my acting coach. We figured that it wasn't just rolling around on the ground with hardly any clothes on, screaming and laughing. It was more to it. We worked on it, went to see Wes, crawled around his floor, and died on his floor. And then an hour later, I got the call. So it was just like any other audition. So when people go, how did you get into horror? And I go, it was the audition that came across the desk that week. You know, you if you're a trained actor, you should be able to respond to any audition you get. So I did a comedy the week before, and then, you know, People Under the Stairs was the next one. But it was my very first movie, too. Yeah. So that's another seminal thing. So it holds a lot of places in my heart, and it's got, you know, it's been like the river runs through it, you know? It's been my whole life.
So that's the thing about the People Under the Stairs, too. Like you said before when we were talking earlier, you know, you have such a short time in this movie as far as film timing, but yet you're such an iconic character that anybody who's ever seen this movie, the first thing you think of is Roach.
Right.
Out of every other thing, Roach is everybody's favorite character. How cool is that to be in a movie like this that is so it's so awesome that you're an iconic character that everybody loves, like you said, and not having that much screen time.
Yeah, I mean, it's I think it's very interesting because I'm kind of in between. Like, people love Roach, but if you go to like vendors and they have all these horror characters, Roach is never in those horror characters. So he's big, but not big enough. You know what I mean? Yeah. So even Roach, the character, is a cult character. The people who love they don't love him as much as Jason. You know what I mean? And that's the other thing. So, but I think it's iconic because, I mean, when I read it, I knew it was dope because you think he's a bad guy, you think he's scary. Yeah. Then he's not only a good guy, he's like a great guy and a martyr to save the kid in 11 minutes. Yeah. In 11 minutes, you maybe hear me for 2, so I'm in that movie for 13 minutes, and all that happens in that 13 minutes. So that's condensed and powerful. So it's more like a bullet as opposed to a drawn out story. So that's what I think helps the thing. Yeah.
And then obviously, anybody who's fans of non-horror movies, how was it just being in the movie Twister? Because everybody loves that. I love that. I mean, it's just an awesome cast.
That was because of the milk commercial. This milk commercial that was very popular. Spielberg loved it. A person told me that working in his office, you're going to get a call that'll change your life. I did. Twister wasn't really an audition. You could tell we were just kind of being so, okay, you know. So he did put me in Twister because he loved the milk commercial. And I had no idea what I was getting into. I knew it was big, though. I knew it was really big because Helen Hunt was in it, and I was a huge fan of hers. I knew of Bill Paxton, but not as much as I knew of Helen Hunt. She was a huge TV star. And I didn't know anyone else. But everyone else was there from these amazing movies. Philip Seymour Hoffman and Jeremy Davies from Spanking the Monkey, and like amazing Todd Field and Walking and Talking. Like, they all had amazing movies, and I was coming from a commercial. So I was a little insecure. But I ended up making great friends with everybody, and that, just like People Under the Stairs, same thing. Like Twister and People Under the Stairs are the two things people know of most because they're very well beloved in each community. So.
And before we get into Crust, of course, because we definitely want to talk about that. Yeah. He likes Twister, but Idle Hands, man, you seem to have recovered from your taser wound.
I did. That was a really, really fun. I mean, when I read that script, I was like, dude, even if they don't do this as there's no way to screw this movie up. And then I knew Seth Green from before. When he got cast, I was like, oh, he's hilarious. I thought it was great. It was so fun. And then my police partner was a friend from Twister. Nick Sadler. So I mean, it was all great. It was all really great.
You just keep doing these movies with different Mighty Ducks.
You
got Brandon.
And then another one I love too that a lot of people don't realize it until you rewatch it again, being the quote bad guy serial killer in Jury Duty, working with Pauly Shore.
Yes. Well, that was like after the milk commercial, so a lot of people wanted me to do stuff with my face because I made faces. Yeah. So I was like, okay, as long as I get to do this interesting thing with this guy, I'll do it. And I had fun with it. I always loved the kind of pantomime / silent movie fun of it. And when they were like, "We got great news, they're adding a scene," and my agent was ecstatic. In those days, the studio said they love you and they're adding a scene, you don't go, let me read it, like you just go, yeah. And then they did it and they sent the scene. And it was the scene where he comes visits me conjugal. And
that's the best part.
I know, and I hate that scene. I hate that scene because
it's so funny.
It ruined all the work I was doing trying to be this interesting, quiet.
Yeah.
And then as soon as they did that, I was like, no. But literally, I'm the only one. Everybody, that's their favorite. Everybody, they quote it. Deep fry your ass. Like everybody loves it. So I'm the only one.
Somebody brings it for you to sign, and you're like, "Do I have to?"
Yeah.
Well, it was just because I had a very specific thing that was going very well, which ironically, the scene they wrote had me doing something completely different.
Yeah,
and I was like,
yeah.
well, if you say you like what I'm doing, why have me do something different?
Yeah. And then like on a personal level too, because anybody who like is social media, you're always on Facebook, always super cool. One of the cool things I've always saw you do throughout your career is you do the airplane buddies, where I love that, where you just take these selfies with random, people who just happen to be on the flight sitting next to you and like stuff like that. And also at conventions, we were talking earlier, Gettysburg, if anybody doesn't know, this guy is a karaoke master, and any convention needs to do karaoke and do karaoke again so you can see this man sing.
I'm very hammy. He can tell you. Like the ham comes out, no cheese, just a lot of ham.
A lot of ham. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But then, like you said, one of the quotes you said, leading Hollywood didn't want to put you as a lead, so you decided to make your own movie where you wrote, directed, and you're the main star. Talk about Crust and talk about the adventure of making Crust.
I've always written scripts. I had a couple scripts that went around, and I always tried to get them produced. But then I wrote this one after a bout of depression. I was in a very angry mode. I didn't know why, and people were like, "You should get a pet," and I had pitched an idea about a sock monster a long time ago, and I was like, the only pet I want is a pet that could like get rid of all my problems. And I went, oh, that sock monster could be a pet, and I remember pitching it as an idea that's low budget because it's one location and smaller cast, and tried to get it going a few times. Felissa Rose read it, she loved it, she helped me in 2016. With Aaron Mento and Charles Studabala, who did Ugly Sweater Party, very fun Christmas movie.
Yep.
And they were helping me get it done. Chris Sergi as well back then. And then we just didn't know what we were doing until Indiegogo kind of fell apart. Then when circle back with Felissa years later, she had a new partner. She had learned a lot. I had learned a lot. We matched up again and then got it going. We were one of the fastest Indiegogos ever in horror. But I think I was during social media and people kept saying, you should do bigger parts. You should do bigger parts. And I was like, I know it doesn't work that way. It's not like I can knock on a door and go, give me bigger parts. It doesn't work that way. So I thought, oh, well, now I'm going to do this movie. Now, finally, one of the movies I've written with these leads is actually going to happen.
Yeah.
So when I did the Indiegogo and everybody showed up, I was kind of like, why is this happening? They said, because we actually do like your idea of a sock monster, cult movie, and we do want to see you in bigger parts.
Yeah.
And we've been saying that like in movies we've seen you in, we wish your part was bigger, and they go, so we may as well watch you in this. So it was very humbling. Like I couldn't believe the real support. Because BS support is everywhere.
Well,
right?
everybody supports you.
Everybody supports you, right? With no action, but the action showed up, and I got to work. Felissa Rose said, I'm going to get you the best cast and crew. I said, let me do the cast because people I know. She got me the most amazing crew. She said she was going to be a matchmaker at one point. You can tell she knows how to match energies and put people together and find the right mix for people. And she's just astounding as an actress in Crust. And I just got really, really good actors and a great crew. So I'm very excited.
Was it always with Crust, did you always have the idea of doing it as a black and white film?
I did. The interesting story now is some friend has said, hey man, you should do it in black and white. I thought, oh, that's really cool. It really adds to the creature feature.
Yeah.
And then I said yes, and I didn't know why I didn't let it go. I have no idea why. Because people would go, yeah, you can do it in color. You don't have to, and I don't know why I was like, nope. And then later, honestly, even after I was done and editing it, I went, oh my God. I was a Young Frankenstein fan. My favorite Tim Burton movie is Ed Wood.
Oh yeah.
My favorite show of all time is Twilight Zone. My favorite movie is Casablanca.
black and white
black
plays
and white,
a huge
yeah.
role in my life, which I didn't even realize. And I was fighting for something I didn't even understand why I was fighting for.
And even in comedy, Devil and I are big Kevin Smith fans, so
There
it's got
you
a
go.
Clerks
Yes,
aspect.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, it definitely has yes, it has a Clerks aspect as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. No, so I mean, yeah, I love Clerks. The acting's not. I love you guys, but the acting's not. But he used his friends. But no, I hadn't seen it, and then I watched it, and I go, oh, he's creating this great world where these uber intelligent and pop culture people work these really crappy jobs.
Yep.
Which is not like how normal mostly is, which makes it a really cool vibe. And I go, oh, now I get it. I really get it. I was an acting snob, so I would watch that. So that's why. Sorry, Cal. But anyway,
We won't tell him.
we will tell. But anyway, so I'm just very proud of it, and it turned out great. We're getting good reviews. We've got good reviews that I can't even post yet because we'd rather post them closer to the streaming release, which is November 12th.
Yeah, I saw you posted about that.
So we'll have but we have a lot of good reviews, which is great.
And you do have a screening tomorrow.
We do have a screening tomorrow in Maryland. If you're in Maryland, you can go to any of my social media at Sean Whalen Actor, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Under my picture, there's a link tree. You click it there, and you can buy tickets. $10. It goes to charity, and bring your friends.
Yeah. I can't wait to see it, man. It's
But I hope you guys dig it.
it's just a cool concept, and being the fact that we're huge fans of you.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh yeah, man, this makes sense. And like you said, we want to see more of you in movies. So why not get a whole movie where you?
Right.
It's all you.
Yeah. We'll see.
Absolutely. Because even in Chrome's Skull, we only got you for
Yeah.
so long.
Yeah,
You laid to rest.
Well, I was there pretty early.
Yeah, you were there early.
It was me and Kevin, and God, who was the third? Was it just me and Kevin were with her?
Yeah.
Just me and him with her. Yeah, and we were there the whole time. Man. And then he's like, yeah, and then you die at the end. He goes, but we really get to know you and like you. And I go,
I mean, even 3 in Hell character, man, you were such a nice
so
guy.
That's a great story though, because we went there, and the first scene is her running into me. The second scene, it was not that at all. Like, not even close. It was me, like, get down there, get to work or whatever. And then she kills me. And then when I did the first part, I did it more wide-eyed and soft. And Rob goes, well, it's way better. He goes, but now my second scene doesn't work at all because you're so sweet. And he goes, and it's not as shocking for her to kill a really jerky guy like being guy. Then everyone's gonna go, yeah. You're supposed to start to think, oh, she's flipping out. She's starting to flip out. So me, Rob, and Sherry wrote that grape soda scene in 15 minutes sitting in chairs. Wrote it right then. Made each other laugh. We're making each other try this. We were having a great time. And then we went and shot it. Nice. And I love that scene. I love that scene. She and I had the best time. So when it wrapped, it was very funny. When it wrapped, I sent them 2 little pins because they have pins on all their jackets. And it said grape soda on both of them. So I remember seeing her at the wrap party, and she goes, I was going to wear my grape soda pin, but Rob wouldn't let me. And then I saw him 3 months later, and I go, yeah, she told me, he goes, that's bullshit. So she wasn't going to wear that pin with that nice dress.
But no, I mean,
but I love them. They're the sweetest couple.
And that scene is so good because, Devin and I were talking about when we were coming up to doing this because, again, obviously we're also very much fans of your work, and we have many of your movies and stuff like that. And I was like, well, he's there for people under the stairs.
Yes.
But I love Idle Hands.
Yeah.
And Laid to Rest was great. But then I was like, no. 3 from Hell, and that poster's been my newest little pet project. That's what I'm bringing for him. And you wrote Grape Soda.
Yep. Well, that's what I loved when he did the grape soda, because that was my hunch up there, root beer, there's beer in it. There's beer in the words. She's like, no.
Because in that scene,
it's like beer, we're partying, right?
When you go by, because you don't know what happened, and you see the aftermath of you.
Yes.
You feel so bad for that character. You're like, he was just some nerdy kid who just wanted to hang out with a pretty Sherry.
And I love that she, the way she did it. When I was just like, no, I want to party, and I don't want to. Like, not me, please. Because I know what you're. No, it almost made me laugh every time when I said, "You look like that lady on TV." She goes, "It is. It is me." And I'm like, You did it so great, man. So
Awesome.
great. That was a great night. Yeah.
Sure. But Sean, thank you so much,
Thank
man.
you,
We really
guys.
appreciate
Thanks
you
for
taking some
talking,
time.
man.
Thanks, thank you guys so much. We're gonna let Sean get back on with his day, but we really appreciate you guys always checking this out. He's the devil, I'm the vampire, but he is Sean Whalen. Horns up, fangs out, but most importantly, thanks for being prompt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, well, well. Devil, my friend, we have something interesting and fun to talk about today. Because contrary to popular belief, contrary to what the Fangs and the Infernos might think, we do read.
Yeah.
Do read books.
Yeah.
Definitely want to start off this special episode by saying thank you very much to FrightReads Book Festival for having us out this past weekend to do some press, to hang out, to do a little shopping, and do some cool interviews. But you and I were in Millersville over the weekend attending the FrightReads Book Festival.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Like you were saying, I know we're movie buffs, but most of these movies that we love have been based off of horror novels and horror books and all that good stuff. And even though I know all the fangs and ghouls out there know that my favorite book to read is probably Hustler, but once in a while I do like to read other stuff. And, I like horror stuff other than horror stuff, and I like more horror stuff. But yeah, it was a pretty cool little festival we got invited to. Like I said, it's primarily a book festival. Lots of authors throughout the horror spectrum, from all kinds of horror stuff, all kinds of different genres, to really scary, to kids scary, to sci-fi. But a lot of vendors at this thing, few celebrities here and there we'll talk about. But yeah, primarily it's all about the books. And I even made a joke because, kids nowadays, I don't do that. Do they even read books anymore? It's all Kindle or audiobooks nowadays. But anyway, the books were still alive. There were real books. There were lots of paper. You could smell it.
That you could, man, that you could. And it was definitely cool, man. It was a good time. It definitely isn't the norm of cons that we go to, but it was in our area. We reached out for press, got approved instantaneously, which was pretty insane. Just because you would apply it on our behalf, like in advance. I mean, like 4 months in advance or something like that. So the festival's in late September, so we're like, yeah, we'll probably hear something back, late August, early September, something like that. Or we would have circled back around to just touch base, just to see how that was looking. But within a couple of minutes, we were approved by FrightReads, and that was very, very cool, and a little humbling too, because it's hard not to like feel good about something like that when you get picked up right away. But overall, it was really cool. You're right. A lot of different vendors, lots of authors, because again, that's of course what it's based around. But just kind of a cool little environment. We were both there, of course. Mrs. Vamp and Mrs. Devil were there on Saturday as well, on Sunday as well for the festival, and just a lot of just cool things. Our friend in Kid Dreadful was there, so it was really great to see her and her family at another con and spend time with that. But it was very cool. It was confined to one room, a little bit outside that room as well, because it's kind of like one of those like independent sports arena type places, like kind of where you would go for like intramural, like indoor soccer kind of design. But it was pretty cool, and I kind of liked the fact that it was combined to the one room. Of course, that does mean that there's going to be limited everything, limited vendors as opposed to a big con, limited celebs as opposed to a big con, limited everything as opposed to a big con. But I thought it was spaced well. I thought they did a good job doing multiple rows that you could walk through to see different vendors and different authors. And I thought it was a pretty cool little design. I thought they did a good job placing people together that also should be close to each other.
Yeah. Definitely the spacing was very, really cool, because a lot of times when you go to these conventions and stuff like that, there, you're trying to jam everybody in, and it's really tight. You're running into vendors or you're running into people. Yeah, I liked that it was super spaced out. And yeah, yeah. Apparently, at the sports center that they had at the Benfield Sports Center, they also do roller derby, which is kind of cool. It's a roller derby arena as well, so that was kind of cool. Yeah, I mean, it was kind of it's kind of off the beaten path a little bit, but it wasn't too bad. It was pretty easy to find, and it wasn't too bad. I mean, parking, is at those kind of places can be a little ridiculous sometimes, and it was a little, little tough. Not too bad, but you know what I mean. It wasn't anything too bad where you had to like walk like 20 miles to get to it or anything like that. So that was kind of good. But yeah, I liked that. I thought it was, like I said, I thought it was spaced out super nice. Like I said, I thought they, it was, easy to get in and out. The people who were working all there, all really, really cool and really easy to like, just if you had any questions to trying to figure out where everything was, they had a little bit of a food place inside that you could get some hot dogs and some pizzas and sodas.
Yeah.
They had like a New Jersey Coney Island dogs or something like that for a hot dog guy. Uh, he was doing hot dogs. That was pretty good. We got some grub down on some hot dogs. And yeah, I thought it was a cool little venue, you know what I mean? And, like I said, whenever we put in for press, they got right back to us really, really quick. So, definitely want to give a shout out to Harry Carpenter. Yeah. Cause, he's the guy who kind of co-runs this and runs the operation. And we got to talk to him for a couple minutes while we're waiting outside for our dogs. And he seemed like a really, really cool guy, man. He was like super excited about playing the event. He, going up to fans and asking them how they're doing, how their day is doing, what they liked and stuff like that. He was definitely, as far as like, people who run conventions, he's definitely probably one of the outgoing, but like in a good way, guys. Because most of them are always nice. The people who run cons have always been super nice with people. But he was just like super overly like just really gleeful and happy and just like super. You could tell he had a lot of energy, which was cool. I liked it. I liked the fact that there was like some people were probably like, oh, who the hell is this guy just randomly asking me stuff? But it's kind of cool that he's kind of you know running this and kind of behind the scenes because him himself is an author too, so he had a booth and was selling his books and stuff. So I thought that was kind of cool. I mean that's the best way to, I guess, to run a con is especially an author, a book convention like this, is to be an author yourself. It's kind of like, oh, you don't get too much love at other cons. You have, you know, authors and people like that at conventions all the time. But I like that this one was primarily, mostly, the bulk of it was about all the writers and all their cool stories.
Absolutely, for sure. Yeah, no, he was really, really nice. Like you said, yeah, he saw us out when we were waiting in our hot dog line and approached us, and it was really cool to have like the head guy of the con, just walk over to want to talk to people about their experience and stuff. But because it's also understandable though why a lot of people don't do that because they have so much other stuff on their plate. They have so much other stuff to monitor. So I definitely can understand why anybody or he wouldn't be able to do a lot of just casual talking and stuff. But yeah, he made the time for people and it was super duper cool. So we definitely appreciated Harry for that. It was definitely nice to talk to him. He's also involved with like Charm City Ghostbusters as well. And the Charm City Ghostbusters Ecto 1 was out there, which was super cool. And there was even a vendor that had a DeLorean, an actual DeLorean, like not tricked out Back to the Future style, but still just a real and original DeLorean was outside there. And that wasn't even there as a prop. Like the Ghostbusters car was there because, it's owned by one of his colleagues in Charm City Ghostbusting. So they were able to get the car for that. But the DeLorean car was literally just a vendor who drives in a DeLorean. And I just thought that was so cool.
Yeah. It was kind of neat. People were taking like pictures of it and stuff like that. And even when we left too, that wasn't really part of the con. I guess it was another vendor, but you had a tricked out cyber truck that had this weird, crazy like plasm, kind of tricked out kind of paint job or whatever you want to call. So it was kind of neat. I mean, I've always liked that, we used to go to conventions all the time where people would be like, people would drive hearses and tricked out stuff like that and bring them to the cons, and people would just check them out and take pictures of it, and they weren't even really part of the show. They were just fans that have cool vehicles, and they like to bring them out. So I always thought I thought that was really, really cool. And like you said, it was great seeing Kid Dreadful. We always, we love our illegitimate child on,
Yes.
in our tips to survivalist expert, Kid Dreadful. It was always cool. She got invited to go to the convention to also, not only, spread the love of Kid Dreadful, or hate, or whatever you want to call it, the dread of Dreadful, but she also got to, moderate and guest, be a judge for the costume contest for the kids, the
Yes.
little kid contest, which was fun. They had the adult one contest on Saturday, and Sunday they had the kids contest, and I love that the fact that you the woman who was doing the emceeing was talking about how the kids were actually paying more attention than the adults, because the
Right.
whole thing was you walk on stage, you pose so you can get a picture, and then you go in front of the judges so they can see you, and then you walk off the stage. But apparently the adults weren't paying attention. But all the kids, as soon as they got on stage, did their Superman poses, their superhero poses. Went, yeah, yeah, it was pretty cool. They had this really little kid vampire that was dressed up, that he kind of stole the show for a few
Yeah.
minutes. He was just grabbed the microphone, and it was pretty cool. But yeah, yeah, it's fun. Like I said, all kind of vendors. You had, directors of movies and actors of movies and stuff like that. We had our good friend D
Yeah.
Calhoun, Screaming Mad D, going there.
Absolutely. It was super cool to see him. We also, ran into a couple of like independent filmmakers that we had talked to at a previous con, and they were, really really cool, and we got to, get some goodies from them and take some pictures and stuff, which was super duper awesome. But yeah, man, it was just cool. It was a good collection of like, Maryland locals that were in the scene that we know, one of which we'll get into shortly as we discuss interviews, and then also just meeting new people, and new people that are putting out their products and the stuff that they're involved in, which I thought was really, really cool. So it's always good to see friends and family, but then always, so excited to get, to meet new people, and learn about, the stuff that gets their creative, juices flowing and stuff like that, like Damien Dreadfuls, from a previous con. And now we've, met him a couple of times, and he remembers us and we remember him. So that's always super cool. So yeah, there's always very, very cool opportunities to, when you get to see new friends consistently now. So that was very, very cool. But Devil, my friend, let's get into a little bit of talk just about the interviews that we did. We did two of them at this particular con, one of which was very, very cool. An independent filmmaker and an art and an actor who I actually have known a little bit from previous conversations, and it wasn't until I got triggered by one of his movies that I realized that he and I had some really cool just hangout history before. And then we also got to talk a little bit with, to a certain degree, almost kind of the guest of honor when it came to other things that he was doing. And we'll start off with Chris. But the two people, of course, that I'm referring to are Chris O'Brockie, who was there promoting Shriek Show, and the great Sean Whalen from People Under the Stairs, who was promoting his new movie Crust, which was very, very cool. And we'll get into a little bit of that as well. But when it came to Chris O'Brockie, man, he was just super duper fun. Like, he's always such an energetic, just fun guy. And he seemed so appreciative that not only did we come over to say hi, I saw his new movie, which is based around this ringmaster character, kind of clown type things. And I'm always into that kind of stuff. You're always into that kind of stuff. But we asked him about doing an interview, and he was like so excited to do one. So yeah, Chris O'Brockie from, Shriek Show was our first, interview that we did at FrightReads.
Yeah. He was just super, super nice, man. Just super cool, super laid back, just a fun. Like you said, a lot of energy. Like later in, after we did the interview at the end of the night on Sunday, he was trying on like this little purplish pink dress kind of thing, and it kind of looked like a mermaid. Then I realized that he actually had played a mermaid in a movie that he did. So that's I was like, that was kind of cool. But yeah, he kind of reminded me of I know he said he mentioned it a little bit, but he reminded me a little bit of a young Tim Curry almost. He's got a Tim Curry kind of look to him, but just a super nice guy. Like just an awesome guy to talk to. Like down to talk. A cool good Maryland boy from just talking about these horror movies that we love. And obviously the one day he wore a Halloween 6 shirt, so we got to discuss our love of Halloween, and even discuss our love of Halloween 3 that a lot of people always despise. But Chris is one of the good ones because he likes Halloween 3 as well.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely. And it was cool because he was really excited to meet Mrs. Vamp, because we had told him during the interview and just chit chat time that Halloween is like her franchise of choice, and that's his franchise choice as well. And it's also super cool too because he's a big fan of 4 and 5, which brought into the conversation not only someone that Mrs. Vamp's a big fan of, but also your little devilish mistress that you really like in Danielle Harris.
Oh yeah. That's you gotta love. Like I said, and then he was wearing Part 6, which doesn't get a lot of love, and we were discussing about. We talk about it in the interview, but our love with Paul Rudd and Paul Rudd's character in that movie. So yeah, it was pretty cool. He was talking about Shriek Show a little bit. He was talking about his new movie that's just getting ready to be released on Shudder, I believe he said, or not Shudder, Screambox. It was Crackoon, which I guess I'm assuming it's going to be in the line of the bear, Cocaine Bear and Sharknado and those kind of super crazy but fun movies that have animals doing nutty horrible shit.
Yeah, absolutely, man. But Chris was great. He's always such a genuine person. He was really, really nice. And it was just great to talk to him also about this passion project in Shriek Show, where it was like, this is a character that he had developed, because he's also a big Terrifier guy. So we also had to have a great conversation with him about his love of Terrifier, and being that he's a fan of Terrifier from actually when Michael was playing Art the Clown in All Hallows Eve, which is a movie that you and I are very familiar with as well. And we've also met Michael as well because he's done the con circuit. So it was awesome to get to talk to another, like, not only just Terrifier enthusiast, because, there's a lot of Terrifier enthusiasts out there, but it's cool to also meet a fellow like OG, like, a fellow guy who was back, and we love David. Like, David is the guy for the job. He really is. But it was really cool to meet somebody and hang out again with a friend who's an OG from Michael's work, when Art was just this new kind of character that you really don't know if it's just going to stay a cult character, simply because of that movie, or even if we had gotten the first Terrifier and then nothing more. It was super duper cool because he was talking about he did a cosplay as Art the Clown, like back when Michael was the only known Art the Clown. So I always thought that was a really great conversation. But yeah, it was a great time hanging out with Chris O'Brocki, and we definitely look forward to our next one, and supporting him through Shriek Show and Crackoon and all the other stuff that he does, MILFs and zombies and stuff like that. So he's got so many fun movies out there. But then we also got to interview, like I said, basically what you would call the guest of honor. Don't get me wrong, he was not officially titled that, because he was part of basically the reunion that they did for the People Under the Stairs. But considering the event that you and I got to go to Sunday night, he definitely was getting more of the push as far as appearing at this con, because of the premiere that he was doing. And that is, again, of course, Sean Whalen from People Under the Stairs, from Employee of the Month, from Idle Hands, and all these great movies. And then the one person I wanted to get an autograph from which he did on the item that I wanted to, along with Mrs. Devil, which was our posters for Three from Hell. But Sean was absolutely amazing. He was so cool right from the get go. You and I got to meet him pretty much right off the bat because his line hadn't really heavily formed. So we got to talk to him, got to get our autographs, and then got to just kind of pose the idea, hey, we would love to talk to you, do a little interview for our show about Fright Reads and about Crust and a bit about your career if you're down. And he was like, oh, absolutely. I would love to do this interview. Please, let's do this interview. And I really do want to talk about Crust. And sure enough, within the next, couple of hours, because of course we wanted to respect his ability to speak with his beloved fans, he sure enough did that, and it was awesome.
Yeah. He's always been a super cool guy. It was great to finally get to see him again because it'd been so many years. We talked about meeting before at a con that of years ago that is no longer around, and how much he's like just a fan person and all about, like, we talked about karaoke and him doing karaoke to Jesse's Girl and all this kind of stuff like that. Just a super fun guy, like, you know what I mean? He's like one of those he's one of those actors that I don't really put him nearly as much up as like Clint Howard, who's like been in like every movie that possibly could be in.
Sure.
But Sean's one of those guys that like a lot of people don't know him and then know who he is and be like, wait, aren't you that guy from that movie or this movie? Especially because, like he says, he gets a lot from, the people on the stairs. And we talked a little bit about Twister, he gets a lot of love from that because it was such a huge blockbuster movie. But yeah, it's like, it's great. It was great to, talk to him again and stuff like that. And just like, talk about it. I love the fact, when you see in the interview too, that, we mentioned that we did People Under the Stairs for our Father's Day episode. And then it's like 2 minutes later, he finally realized that we said Father's Day. And he was like, oh my God, that's funny as hell that you guys did People Under the Stairs for Father's Day.
Yeah, just erupting into laughter. He just thought it was so great because you don't think about it at first. You think of it being more of like, a creatures type of review, which of course, we covered all of that. But when you think about the underlying themes and, all of our fangs and infernos that, watch us they've figured out that there's always a little bit of like underlining ideas. Some showdowns, are more obvious than others. Like when we did werewolves, like the two movies we picked, they know those to be werewolves movies. But then when you look at the movies that we did for Father's Day and People Under the Stairs, where it's that BDSM, crazy parents and psycho father kind of running these creature children's worlds versus Frailty, which is about the grooming of like a killer. It's so funny watching him react because those are those underlining concepts that we love to do because we're happy to talk about the mainstream stuff and we're always going to give a lot of love to the big franchises and stuff that built the genre and allowed it to thrive. But it's more fun talking about like the second and third tier stuff that doesn't get as much love as it should.
Yeah. And then it was like you said, he was there promoting his new movie, and like I said, we had got Crust. We had gotten tickets. I had bought tickets prior because I was like, dude, I want to go see this. I've been jonesing to watch this movie for a while now because I know it's been a project of his for a few years, and finally getting it up and running, and finally getting it out. And he was nice enough to invite us to the premiere for that, do a little press for it, record a little bit of the Q&A and, just be in that atmosphere with, with a lot of like people who were from Fright Reads there were, a lot of fans from Fright Reads that came out. He had family. He had people who graduated like in his high school, either with him or around the years that he went to school, which was kind of cool. There was a good amount of them. There was like at least like 20 or 30 of them, I think, that were literally like, went to school because, didn't find out until, when he posted earlier before the con that he was a Maryland guy. I've known who Sean's been my entire life, and have watched his movies and been a huge fan of his, but didn't realize that he was a Maryland guy. So it was cool for him to kind of like come home. I mean, I can imagine the LA premiere for his movie Crust was probably something, special and stuff like that. But I would, just to be able to come home, close to your hometown and be able to do a premiere for a movie that, put his, blood, sweat, and tears to make and stuff like that. And it was awesome, man. I had a good time. It was a good movie, and it was fun. And we're definitely gonna end up probably doing a review for it soon. I know that it's, coming out on streaming services really, really soon, and then it's supposed to be coming out in this year on Blu-ray and DVD. I know you can go on Amazon and pre-order it now. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to watching it again. It was fun, and I'm, hopefully, down the road we can, hopefully it's not 12 years or whatever it was, about almost 12 years since the last time I seen them. So hopefully, it's a little bit shorter of a period in between the breaks. But yeah, I mean, Sean was awesome. Like I said, obviously he was part of the cast of, People on the Stairs. They had the guy who played Fool, who was obviously Mighty Ducks and
Yeah,
Sandlot, and he was a lot of people didn't realize that he was the little boy in the Michael Jackson Moonwalker and video and the music video, I think, for Bad, I think it was, or Beat It. I don't remember which video. I remember it was one of the videos, but he was in a Michael Jackson music video, and then they had the main dude from People on the Stairs there. So it was pretty cool to kind of see them and see people interact with them, and it's and like we were talking about it, for a movie. I mean, obviously it's a huge, it's a good movie. It's a good movie for people who are horror fans because obviously it's a Wes Craven movie, but it's one of those ones that, like, a lot of people don't know about it completely, and it hasn't been remade or hasn't been any sequels or any of that kind of stuff. And it's cool that, like, 30 plus years later, people are still, wanting to see this movie and wanting to meet actors that were from that movie. So
yeah.
it's cool. It's cool that that movie still gets its love.
Yeah, and we had also that really cool conversation too with Sean because, like, Sean is a very remembered and beloved character of that movie for not a lot of screen time. I think they said something like 17 minutes in that movie is all that Sean appears as Roach. And he's a big just movies guy. We had great conversation about what movies he's very partial to, like his favorite movie of all time and his favorite movie of this genre and his favorite style of this. And he's a big black and white fan, like black and white movies fan. So that was really cool. And we got into these other cool conversations with not only him, but even his co-host, his co-star of the movie about, like, Anthony Hopkins, is like the either the only or the second least used character in a movie to win an Oscar. In Silence of the Lambs, he's either like he's the only Oscar winner to win it in the shortest amount of time, or he's like a minute or two behind one other person. And I just thought that was a cool little conversation to have. But yeah, Sean was really great. We definitely look forward to putting together a cool little special conversation piece about the Crust movie. You and I have been entered in a fun little competition that Sean's doing as of the recording of this review for a signed copy of the movie, because he's a cat person and his cat has certain plushies during the Halloween season that they love to sit on. So he's like, look, here's the question. How many days out of 31 days is my cat going to sit on this witch plushie, this skeleton plushie, or neither plushie? So you and I are entered in that competition with a bunch of other of Sean's fans. So it'll be very cool to see how that plays out post-Halloween. But just such a great guy, just a really, really cool person, and so very grateful as well, too. I mean, just the thought of us coming out to take some video, take some photos, watch the movie, and write reviews. He's like, oh, please write reviews. Please talk about the movie. Please get it out there. And, just such a genuinely good person.
Yeah. I mean, and like I said, I've always talked about how much of like a fan, fan person he is, how well he, it with all the fans and stuff, like fan interactions and stuff like that. I mean, one of the cool things that we were there, when the first day on Saturday, Kid Dreadful was dressed up as a Tooth Fairy kind of character, and he came up with the idea, hey, do you want to take some pictures of me pretending like you're, pulling teeth out of my, pulling teeth out of my mouth and stuff like that. So he had like a cool little impromptu, photo session with, with Sean and Kid Dreadful, which was really, really, really cool. I was like, you know what I mean? I love that, he's all about interacting, with fans, over more than what most other celebrities do.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. And one other thing that I want to talk about that I just think would be kind of fun before we get to wrapping up our overall thoughts on the con is some of the vendors were just really, really cool. And I think it's important, we're independent guys, and we appreciate all the love and support that, the Fangs have given our show and stuff from our families and stuff. But it works the same way, especially with like independent vendors. And, we don't need to go on this big, long, like diatribe of stuff, but like there were just a couple of vendors that I did want to give a little bit of a shout out to real quick. And one, his name was also Chris, but he's from Layered by Layered 3D Printing. He was just really, really nice. He had so much cool 3D printing stuff, different like rubber duckies, these different kinds of like skeletal statues, almost like creepy dolls, as well as like regular, more well-known characters. And so, Mrs. Vamp really wanted one of his little gothic rubber duckies. So we got her, one of the little Rhea Ripley-ish looking rubber duckies. And I got myself a little set of hear no, see no, speak no evil Oogie Boogie statues that I am beginning to think might be partially cursed after our recent loss of Ken Page like a day later. But Chris was really, really great. So we wanted to give some love out to Chris at Layer by Layer 3D Printing for being just a genuinely great guy, a great conversation, and putting together such like really cool things. And then there was also a very cool vendor, unfortunately I do forget their names off the top of my head, that did like taxidermy that were very, very cool. And myself and Mrs. Vamp got a really cool like, shadow box that's hanging on our wall of two, bats that were taxidermy with this cool red background. So it was very vampy looking. So that was a really, really cool thing for us to get, and they were fantastic. And then the last person that I wanted to give a shout out to was Jenny Allen, who was actually specifically there as an author because she has her Blood and Lily vampire series, and she was just really, really nice, very, very cool. But she also just had a lot of very cool, witchy, old school writing, a lot of just very, very cool stuff that she was also selling. One thing of which that I really liked was she was selling these very cool, like old school quill pens. And I've always wanted to like set myself up when the time allows to buy or find like an old school style writing desk and put together like kind of a cool Edgar Allan Poe style desk, in my apartment or hopefully in a house soon that would allow for something like that more on display. And I'd always wanted an old school kind of quill. And she had multiple colors, but of course I had to go with black. And but she was really, really cool, was talking to us about her book and stuff, but she was really, really nice. So yeah, Jenny Allen with the Blood and Lily series, Chris with Layer by Layer 3D Printing were definitely a couple of my favorite vendors. So we definitely wanted to give a little shout out and a little love to them because they were just genuinely sweet people.
Yeah. And then another one vendor that was really, really cool that we got to see at one con before that were back again. I believe that they were called Things Forsaken or something like that. They had the cool you could sit and get electrocuted, not really electrocuted, but you could sit in an electric chair and get your picture taken, which was really cool. And that seemed to be a really big hit. It had they had a pretty good line for a while, like you said. But the Charm City Ghostbusters guys were there, and the cool thing about their booth interact with you when you walked by it. And I love that they were also playing the game that Bill Murray was playing with the people, where you had to read the cards, and they had the little shocking thing and stuff like that. Like, I thought that was kind of cool. Like they had a really fun booth that a lot of people were going up to. Obviously it being a Fright Reads, it being, this was a, like I said, even though this was horror related and very, scary, spooky stuff, it's still very kid friendly, which I like. It's also for adults, it's also for kids. The kids loved it. I saw a lot of people getting their faces painted. They had people there that were doing the face painting and stuff like that. So it's fun, you know what I mean? I mean, most that's what I love about the genre, because most people are like, oh my god, it's so scary and so evil and satanic, and it's like, you have the most, nicest people usually at these shows and stuff like that, and these horror related stuff and stuff like that, where, and it's like all kid friendly, you know what I mean? That's it's fun. It's fun. Like I said, I was like, I had more fun legitimately watching the kids at the costume contest than the adults, because they were in it more. I mean, it's like, people go, well, that's because they're kids. Well, I mean, when you're cosplaying an adult, you should be into your character. You gotta 100% sell it, and that's why I like about that stuff. So it was pretty cool. Like I said, I mean, they had a decent amount of vendors. There was more vendors than I was expecting it to be, being the fact that it is primarily, a book convention. So it was really cool. A lot of, and like I said, a lot of vendors that we don't see at other cons throughout the area. So it was kind of cool to see different ones that we haven't seen before, which was kind of refreshing, because once you start going to cons and going to cons and stuff like that, you kind of tend to usually see the same people
Yeah.
selling the same stuff. So it's kind of cool to see a different kind of side of stuff and stuff like that, where it, primarily, pushing the authors and stuff like that, which I thought was cool. I thought overall, I thought the vendors were really cool. Like I said, I thought they had some really cool stuff just going on throughout the whole entire con. And like I said, it was just a cool layout, like really easy, really laid back. I liked it. I liked the chill atmosphere of it, because sometimes cons can kind of get sometimes a little too stressful, or
Yeah.
kind of like, you eventually just get mad at something or whatever like that. But I liked it. It was chill. It was a chill atmosphere.
Yeah, it definitely was. And so as we, talk about just the overall experience and stuff, again, it's, I think, very clear to say that, you and I definitely enjoyed ourselves. We had a good time. We would definitely do it again should we be invited back. But yeah, overall, I liked that chill environment as opposed to some of these major cons, which we do love. And, we'll be at another one this weekend as of the recording of this episode. And, we love that big environment atmosphere for those long-standing cons, but it was cool to see something that's only 4 years old, similar to a con that we did a little while ago that wasn't press related, but that you and I went, where it was only like their second real event. But it was very cool to be at such a young festival that is only 4 years old, but only that caters to a different style. Most cons for horror are all the same overall dynamic, which is celebs and vendors. They're kind of set up the same main particular way. I like the fact that this one, not only from the title but also to the logo, where it was like, hey, yes, this is about horror, this is about spooky, creepy, scary, but this is still about books. This is about authors first, in the genre. And yes, of course, we want to bring in some people of interest, to boost sales and boost enthusiasm. But I do love the fact that from the title to the logo and to the overall presentation, you knew that this catered to horror authors first.
Yeah. I mean, and I like the fact too, because the fact that it is, a lot of these cons, I wouldn't say that they're cutthroat, but a lot of cons, that are in that, or in that same realm of it, are kind of, competitors. And I would imagine, because you want people to go to your con and not go to that con, or go to that con, so I can see a little bit of that being competitive. But I thought this was pretty cool, because like, being the fact that it was primarily a a book convention and a horror book convention, that the guys were all about plugging other cons. They were talking about, like we were just talking about this weekend with Monster Mania. They were plugging Monster Mania. Go to see this, and I thought that was kind of cool. That you don't see usually this con saying, "Hey, go check out that con," or "Go check out this con." Usually cons, unless they're like related to each other in some way, like
Yeah.
owned by the same people or something like that, you tend not to get a lot of that cross promotions. And I thought that was kind of cool, where like this con, I think it works well, because this con isn't knows that it's not any competition to that one, because like you said, it's a different type of convention. This is a book first convention, celebrities and all that stuff later. It's all about the authors and people who want a book. That's going to be the bulk of it. Where cons like Monster Mania and stuff like that have book authors, but you get one or two maybe or so, and then it's primarily celebrity heavy, and then you vendor heavy, which I thought was kind of cool. I mean, as far as Fright Reads, I think my only I guess like gripe, not really a gripe, but my only like little like kind of tidbit of thing with a bit, I think they would, I love the fact that they're low key, and I love the fact that it's, as far as the celebrities, it's on a low end. I think they could benefit on a few more celebrities, not necessarily going for like huge heavy hitters, because like I said, I don't think that they need that. But they had, like I said, they had, the people under the stairs. They had four people from People Under the Stairs, and then they had a woman who was an actress that was in the Descendants, who was like the fairy godmother, and then that was pretty much like as far as your quote unquote like major celebrities. Those were your major ones. And then you had like Chris Brocky and those kind of guys and stuff like that were doing this stuff, but those were your major ones. I think if they could have just added maybe a couple more, didn't, like I said, not a lot more. I mean, like I said, I definitely, I like the fact that they're not going that huge celebrity realm, aspect of it, because like I said, it makes it more chill when it's like that. But that's the only thing. I think a couple more little guys would have been good. Like I said, you don't need to get any huge heavy hitters, but just like maybe a couple ones, like you said, like when we go to cons, maybe like someone like a Doug Jones or something like that, somebody that's gonna draw in a name a little bit, but not anything that's gonna be super huge, where you're gonna have to, obviously, it's a convention, it's that, you have a budget and stuff like that. So not anything that needs to be astronomical. Like I love the fact that even people in comments were talking about this translusiveness of this convention, and about wanting like big celebrities like Freddy Krueger, and they're like, well, yeah, we're never going to be able to get the likes of Robert England. He's a huge celebrity. But if you want to meet Robert England, he's going to be at the Monster Mania, or they promoted that kind of stuff. So I thought that was kind of cool that they're translucent. They're very transparent about, like this con's never going to be. You're not going to get these huge, major, top level celebrities. Which, like I said, I enjoy that part of it. I like the fact that the People Under the Stairs guys were there. That's awesome. I mean, those guys were all really cool, and so I liked that. That kind of a lower key, bunch of celebrities. But like I said, that just a couple little more, just a little more sprinkled in, I think would be. But like I said, yeah, definitely, and maybe even like being a book guy. I know it's tough, because especially nowadays when authors are kind of like, not, I don't want to say dime a dozens, but you know what I mean? There's so many authors now, and a lot of people don't read and all this crazy stuff with all the Kindles. And then we were joking around like that. It would be cool to get maybe like maybe even like a bigger writer. But then again, it's hard. I'm not a, I'm a book reader, but most of the authors that I like are old school guys. And yeah, you're not going to get Clive Barker, and you're not going to get Stephen King. And obviously with Anne Rice passing away or someone like that. I mean, those are the writers that I primarily like, are those bigger name ones. But yeah, I mean, but I guess, like I said, some of the authors they did have were some big names, I guess, in the book writing. You know, Pulitzer winner. Got one guy we heard was like in a deal with doing something with Stephen King or something like that. So, I mean, like I said, I mean, I guess because it's not in 100% in my realm as far as like newer writers or something like that. I don't really know who is the top shelf guys and who's not the top shelf guys, but I liked it. Like I said, I think that they should stick to this way, the way that they programmed this, because like I said, it was cool, it ran awesome. Like I said, you have that little bit of celebrities that gets you kind of going in the door, and then you go, you know, you get some of these writers and stuff like that that people might know and be like, oh my god, this guy wrote this book, or this woman wrote this book. I mean, that's what I said. I think it's cool. I think it's a cool atmosphere, and yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing, you know, who they bring for next year.
Definitely, for sure. And I agree with you on that one. Yeah, I would love to have seen the celebs, you know, doubled. And when people hear the word doubled, they're like, oh man, doubled. Like, really? It's like, no. Keep in mind what Devil and I already said. There was only really about 4 to 5 actual, you know, actors and actresses, established actors and actresses there. You know, and of course Chris as well, because he is established. I'm not downplaying him. Just movies like The People Under the Stairs, because of the, you know, Wes Craven ties, of course, are that upper tier movie that people are automatically going to think of. So that's the only reason I say it like that. When you think of double from what they have, that's only about 8. You know, that's 8 to 10. You know, movie stars, for lack of a better term. That would be very, very cool, you know. But yeah, I would definitely love to see something, you know, like a few other somewhat established actors, like you said. Like I really enjoy Gothic books and stuff like that, so I'm a little bit, you know, more into that as well. So I would definitely love to see that. Like even something like the book that I was just using to talk about books. You know, this is a book called Vampiro, which was, you know, written by Richard Montemoreno and also co-written by, you know, Anthony Montemoreno, who is from the who also has a band called Neon Coven that I'm a big fan of. So there's that kind of a cool idea for something like that. But even somebody who's on the East Coast, for example, from my community, like the vampire Jack Townsend and his wife Shane, they are both actually established authors, and they're from New York. So like this would be a nothing commute for them. I just know that the likelihood of them being at this past Fright Reads wasn't going to work because they're currently shooting their movie. So I wouldn't have been surprised that it was just not feasible because of their current schedule and shooting schedule. But something like that would definitely be very cool. And whenever Fright Reads is announced for next year, I'll definitely pop a message over them and be like, hey, if you guys have the opportunity, I think this would be very, very cool. So that would definitely be something super rad for somebody who I'm familiar with, but also people that definitely have more than like a book out to be there. But I'm with you, man. I think it's a super duper cool idea. I think it's a great fun con. It's very low maintenance. My only other thing that I would love to see, and again, this does play a little bit into the financials game, because the place you rent, the venue you book has to fit into the budget as well. But man, parking was tricky, bro. So it's of course a very, very small, you know, space, but you know, it's an independent roller rink sports arena, but it only really has at best about 100 spots, and maybe not even that much, but at best 100 spots. So you had cons, you had fans and vendors that were like, you know, parking in other lots, parking on the side of the street, but they also sent you out like a map to let you know, hey, don't go to these places because you also risk a tow. So I wouldn't hate to see some kind of different venue that's more parking friendly. But again, because the con itself is very transparent about what they are, what they do, and their abilities, I can definitely understand that that might not be feasible for the foreseeable future. Doesn't necessarily mean that by, you know, Fright Reads 7 or 8, they can't maybe move to another place. But also, like you were saying before, their willingness to promote the scene is great, because they've also been promoting an upcoming Barnes & Noble event where Barnes and Noble is doing a horror authors like meet and greet thing at the Barnes and Noble in Annapolis. And Fright Reads has been posting about it, being like, hey, a bunch of our authors from Fright Reads are going to be at this event too, which I think is very, very cool. Barnes and Noble is a chain, it's a giant, huge book chain. So, of course, they're not going to have a professional tie in with Fright Reads. But again, it's about building the scene, promoting the success of the authors, which I think that is very, very cool and definitely can't go unappreciated. But overall, Devil, I think we're in agreement, my friend, that this was definitely a cool experience and something we'd be willing to do again.
Yeah. It was fun. Like I said, everything, from the beginning to the end was just, it was a good experience. You know what I mean? It was like really, really cool, and like it was fun. And like I said, I'm looking forward to, hopefully this, con can continue and continue to have success and just get, bigger and better, every year. But like I said, but keep it at that, I hope that, even when topic is the fact that this is a book. It is Fright Reads. It is a book convention. So I like it. I was like, I'm hoping that we get to continue our relationship with them, and and working with them. And like I said, we'll see what we can what they can conjure up for next year.
Absolutely, man. And honestly, Devil, as a final closing note, I will say I really didn't hate the hours of this con, to be honest. I kind of dug the fact that it was a noon to 6 thing, even on Saturday. I kind of enjoyed that, again, where they're not trying to squeeze blood from a stone by, running a small convention for like 8 or 10 hours, where, once you've done so many circles, that you're done. You don't, need to see anything anymore. But that you can, it gives you the rest of your evening where, if you're local-ish like we are, we were able to go do whatever it is that we wanted to do. Don't get me wrong, but we had things that we were doing, not only the Crust premiere, on Sunday night, but just the other things just in general that we were doing, getting back at a reasonable time. You and Mrs. Devil had a concert you went to on Saturday night. I was getting home to Mrs. Vamp. But then on Sunday night, of course, all 4 of us went out to the Crust premiere. But I definitely dug that. I enjoyed that aspect. I liked the fact that you got a good quality chunk of time to shop, to meet people, to talk, and just have a great time. But you didn't lose your entire day for it. So I actually got to say, I really didn't hate the time frame of the fact that this was 2 days, 6 hours apiece.
Yeah. Like I said, even if it was something where you got the weekend pass, you could go in and just enjoy yourself for a little bit, and then come back and go and hit it hard again the other day. You know what I mean? It's cool. Yeah. It was definitely one thing that was kind of neat, because usually, cons usually tend to try to get you there early in the morning. So it was nice not having to get up super, super early, for a convention. So I was definitely loving the 12 to 6, because like you said, if you didn't have anything to do Saturday night, or Sunday at the con, and you can still go figure out something. You can still go see a movie, or you can go to a concert, or you can go to go get a dinner or something like that. You still had time in your day, and you weren't completely burnt out, because like I said, when you do a con where you're from 10 to 6 or something like that, you're up at 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, and you're going all that, and then you're at a convention all day long, and your feet are hurting. And so, yeah, I like the fact that it was that straight 6 hours, entertaining. They had panels, like I said, they had the costume. They had authors going up and reading and stuff like that. They had things that to keep you entertained for those 6 hours throughout each day. So yeah, I thought they used their time very well.
Definitely, man. Absolutely. So that's how it's going to be, Fangs and Infernos. We really did enjoy the Fright Reads Book Festival, and we definitely look forward to extending our relationship and going back and seeing them again. Again, a real heartfelt thank you to Harry Carpenter for having us out to do press and have a great time at his festival. Thank you so much to Sean Whalen for his hospitality when it came to inviting us out to the Crust premiere, of which there had only been two so far. Here in Maryland, his hometown, and out in LA where he lives currently. So it was very, very cool. And again, thank you so much to Sean Whalen and his hospitality. Love out to my boy Chris O'Brockie. It was great to see you again, my friend, and loved hanging out with you. And again, thank you so much to the various vendors that we shopped with, but also spoke with, that were just very, very cool. And thanks to a great time. And again, of course, Kid Dreadful, we love her. We love her family. They're great people, and we always look forward to seeing them again, at whether it's a concert or an upcoming event. But that's the way it's going to be. That's how we have talked about it. That's how it's been described. A great time had by all at the Fright Reads Book Festival. Horns up, bangs out.
no. Go ahead and pose right there. She wants to ask you a question. Thank you. Never. Yeah. Very good. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much. Does he has a cardigan on? Did he, Mr. Rogers? No? You can clap. Don't worry. You can clap. You can cheer. You can go, ew. You can go, ah. Yeah. And think happy thoughts. Yes. Good call. Good call. Awesome. Thank you. All right. I don't feel like I have to introduce these ones. Like everybody knows who these people are. Go ahead and pose. All right, good job. Moving extra slow, I appreciate it. Very slow. Very creepy. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. She knows. She knows what's up. All right. I know this one. I'm Nadia. Go ahead and pose, Nadia. Yes, now you. Perfect. Yay, thank you. Yeah. Trying to steal my job? I mean, a big fan of puns, so. Come on up here. We have the bride. Who's also an author here, by the way. You should go check out both these women's novels right over here in this next aisle. All right, come on up. Again, does not need an introduction. Uh-oh. Yeah. Maybe it is that kind of show. Awesome. Oh my God, I love this one. Direct from the Haunted Mansion. Come on up here. What's your favorite scary movie? Thank you. Come on up. You look beautiful. I love it. We got a family.
I'm Audrey, this is Carmen, this is Evie, and we're representing Hispanic Heritage Month and Dia de los Muertos.
Awesome! So we're gonna have you come right over here so our winter photographer can get your photo. Hey, just go ahead and show the judges. Perfect. Thank you. Give it up for that lovely family. Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice! Love that sound. That is fantastic. Give it up for Beetlejuice. Don't worry, I won't say it 2 more times so you can stay and find out the results. You better behave for this one. Hey! Sorry, puns are what I do, okay? I'm sorry. There's a reason, I mean. All right, are you ready for your results? Most original costume goes to Red Riding Wolf. All right, give it up. What a wonderful thing. Just go ahead and stand right here, and then that way we can get a picture of everyone who won together. All right, and your group costume contest winners is your beautiful Diles de las Muertes family. Pardon me, I got stuck on my own gum. That was awesome. Come on up here. Yay, congratulations. You're welcome. Just go ahead and stand right over there. And your scariest adult also had a tiny sidekick. The wonderful creepy clown, Art the Clown, and the little baby. Come on up here. Congratulations. You dropped your fox. There you go. Okay, come right over here. Yep. Right. Yay! Congratulations. All right, our running photographer's right there. Hey, you guys get up here too. We take a big group picture, everyone together. Give it up for your winners. All right, Lindsay. Everyone say spooky. See, because you smile when you say the spooky part. Also one that works, just so everybody knows, puppies. Everyone say puppies. Puppies. I'm so weird, I'm sorry. All right, thank you. Your parents will want these at home. Gotta frame them. All right, come on right over here. You're gonna walk, show the judges your awesomeness, and then get off the stage. Good job. There we go. Now you're getting it, now you're getting it. All right, next group. Looks like they had a terrible time at the ballpark. So if you didn't know, the ball's actually supposed to go in the glove. Next time, in the glove. Go ahead and show the awesome judges over here. Show the judges, there you go. All right, give it up for our baseball players. We have a pretty princess coming to the stage.
Good job.
All right, sweetheart. Go ahead and show the judges your loveliness. Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much. Next contestant, please. Looks like we got someone from Minecraft. Perfect. You guys are nailing the poses, by the way. The adults yesterday, I don't think we're catching on as well as you kids are, and that says something. That's pretty awesome. All right, good job. Go ahead and show the judges. Very nice, very nice. and exit. Thank you. All right, we got Harley Quinn. I like your hammer. All right, good job. Show the judges. Awesome. All right, from Little Shop of Horrors, we got Audrey too. Feed me, Seymour. Sorry, that was it. That's all I got. All right, come on up here. Oh God, stop. I don't know, but he's swollen. They're swollen. Oh my God. I'm not even the parent and I'm stressed out right now. All right, come right over here, beautiful little mermaid. Wonderful, thank you so much. I don't think I need to describe what this is, you can just look. Very spooky and a little weird. I dig it, I dig it. All right, thank you so much. Feel free to use the handrails. Nope, stop walking. Nope, nope. Oh God. If I wasn't already sweating in this dress, I'm sweating now for sure. Come on up. Ooh. Sick moves, sick moves. All right, so we got more contestants. Very bedazzly. Ooh. It's very, very fancy. Very fancy murderer. Okay, I'm pretty sure this is our tiniest contestant. Oh Lord, my heart. Yeah. It's all right, I got a 3-year-old at home. I would just hand her the microphone too. I've got more to say. Good job. All right, we got a xenomorph. Like, super loving, all the kids are following the instructions, are coming up here, posing, walking in front of the judges, and then leaving. Adults, pay attention. All right, we got one more. Hey, just don't run with those, okay? All right, and that is all of our contestants. Give it up for them. We're going to just take a moment for the judges to deliberate, and we will announce your winners. All right, are you ready to hear our winners? Your winners for Best Group, Baseball Game Gone Wrong. Just made up that title. Come on up here, guys. Yeah, here we go. Minnesota Twins. All right, wait up here, wait up here. You're gonna stand right here and everyone will come and get a photo too with all the winners, all the winners. All right, most original Scary Skeleton on the Chicken. Great. Yes, please take the stairs this time. All right, here you go. Congratulations. And then I forgot to mention this yesterday. All our prizes are sponsored by Ocean City Comic Con, which is happening this December in Ocean City. So, scariest costume. Are you ready? Are you ready? We got Jeff the Killer. Congratulations. They're gonna go, everybody gets up here. We gotta have our judges. We're gonna take a group photo together. Congratulations to your winners. I've been your host, Candy Doll X. Come on over, you can go this way. Yeah, I'll back up. And give a hand to our wonderful judges. How cool do they look, first off? I got bad knees, I can't kneel. All right, ready? And everyone say spooky. Somebody smoking? Oh. I hope it's not the kids. Awesome, thank you so much. We can't wait to...
Ghouls and Fangs, Vampire and the Devil here. We got a little question for you. Devil, there's kind of a triangle, a three-headed monster per se, when it comes to Baltimore, that I don't think people necessarily realize. We've got Edgar Allan Poe, we've got John Waters, but what else do we have?
We got the Ouija boards, oh yeah.
Absolutely. Starting in Baltimore way back in the day, a lot of people are unfamiliar with William Fuld and Elijah Bond, who patented, and the birth of the Ouija board was right here in Baltimore. Devil and Vampire coming at you from the Witchboard Museum of Baltimore, courtesy of our friend John Kozik, who invited us out to check it out and shoot a little conversation action to let you guys all know. Of course, you've seen on our socials that we have partnered with both museums, and we couldn't be more appreciative to John for that opportunity. So whenever you're here in Baltimore, of course, right attached to the Bazaar Oddity Shop off of the Avenue, you have Witchboard Museum Baltimore. And when you're in Witch City, USA, up in Salem, Massachusetts, that's when you get to visit the Salem Witchboard Museum.
Oh yeah, if you want to see some cool stuff, see some cool boards, get some cool history, go see our boy John. Man, that guy is really awesome, man. That dude knows his boards, he knows his history, he's about preserving the society of witch boards and the talking boards and all that goodness. And, you know, we love it. We love the fact that, you know, they were going to bring in this museum here in Baltimore, so all the Baltimore fans or all your East Coast fans are maybe not as far away, going up to Salem, come out to Baltimore and check it out, you know what I mean? Because there's some cool stuff in this museum, and you gotta check it out, because the devil and the vampire said so.
That is facts right there, my friend. Again, absolutely attached to the Bazaar Oddities shop in the Avenue in Hamden for the Baltimore established Witchboard Museum, or off of Essex Street in Salem, Massachusetts for the Salem Witchboard Museum. Horns up, fangs out.